Everybody, how you doing? And hope you're well. I'm taking this into a different path. I promised last night that I was going to try to combine topics, and so I'm doing that. Welcome to Zenny62 on YouTube. And prior to your coming here, I just posted another video as well, an announcement of a interview that will take place later today if you're on the West Coast, East Coast, excuse me, or tomorrow if you're on the West Coast. And that is with my friend Berkeley District 3 Councilman Ben Bartlett, who's going to come on the show at 3 o'clock Pacific and 6 o'clock Eastern to talk about his his idea that mates blockchain and mini bonds into an exciting new type of municipal financing vehicle that ostensibly will be accessible to low-income persons in Berkeley as a start. I'm going to clip myself there because I'm dying to talk more about it, but I want to get you warmed up. And hey, if you're in the business of blockchain, if you're involved, please check out the program. You're going to be quite excited by what you hear, and I think you're going to want to get involved too. Now, moving forward to talk tonight. Tyreek Hill, as it turns out, has been, well, for all practical purposes, exonerated. And it turns out that there was that the NFL had this full recording, but the picture that was painted of Tyreek Hill last fall, by media in Kansas City was that he was a guy who had beaten a child. Okay, that's how it was put out. And then they released this recording, and everyone said, oh, yeah, he's done it. Oh, yeah, he did it. But it turns out that recording that was released was only part of the actual conversation, okay? Part of the actual conversation. I have, courtesy of The Drive on Arrowhead Pride, hey, Eric Young, I have the full recording. Hey, Donald, how y'all doing? Right here, I'm going to play the whole 11 minutes of this thing in about a minute, and we're going to go from there. It is very vitally important you hear this, because what bothers me about this whole story, all right, and I agree, Rob Iman, it's a great point. Rob Iman, one of our common viewers and listeners, has just wrote a comment that you can actually see that Tyreek Hill may have a case for defamation. I 1,000,000,000% agree. Without any further ado, here is the full Tyreek Hill audio recording from The Drive.
Really want you to sit.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting and thinking.
No, you're not. You're not thinking about it. You're not thinking about it.
Tell me what happened.
He said, Daddy, because we were getting into it, and he said, Daddy, you're mean. So we walked up the stairs,
Right.
and you said, come back down here.
Right.
And he didn't want to go down there, but I was like, go down there because it'll end up worse for you.
Right.
So he walked down there, and then you were getting on his ass about.
And then you said something, right?
No, you kept getting on, and then he started crying, and then you were like, shut up, stop crying.
Right.
Stop crying.
Right.
And then he kept crying because he was scared. He's terrified, and you grabbed onto him somehow, or he fell. One of the two.
I didn't do nothing. That's sad, bro. That is really sad.
Then why does say Daddy did it? Why? Why does say Daddy did it?
I don't know. He says Daddy does a lot of things.
Like what? A 3-year-old's not gonna lie about what happened to his arm.
Right. Like I said, but before y'all had moved here, none of this. I broke the arm, I beat women, none of that. Because I don't do none of that. That 2014 OD. That's a lot too. On me, that's a lot.
But you sitting here calling me a bitch and everything else.
That's what you is, bro. You ruined my life and you lied on me in 2014.
How did I lie about?
I didn't touch you in 2014. And I can put that on everything I love, bro. That's the real truth.
Okay, and then saying that you're gonna get custody of that's not gonna do.
That's the real truth. That's really.
We're business class.
Straight and then left.
You want lied on me in 2014, bro. And if you want to rewind that night, we can rewind that night too. You was in my house, and did I pick you up and slam you? Hell no, I picked you up and put you out my door, and after that you left. And on my son, you did that, bro. And then when you get in the courtroom, you want to sit up there and cry on the stand. He hit me, man, come on, bro.
Then where did the bruises come from, Tyreek?
Did I hit you?
Where did the bruises come from?
Did I hit you though?
I'm asking you, where did the bruises come from?
Did I hit you though? Did I hit you? Tell the truth. Tell me the truth in my eyes.
No,
right now.
you're not thinking about what had happened.
Look at me.
We're not thinking about that. Now the issue is.
No, we're gonna handle both of these issues right now. Why that's on my chest? Because the still hurt over that, bro.
And you don't think that this hurts me?
And when you walked outside and turned around, what you had said? Are you sure you're done with me? And what I had said, you can go home, and we done. And
no, you didn't say that.
What?
Why did we get into the argument in the first place? What happened? Why did we get in the argument in the first place?
Which one? 2014?
Yes.
I don't even remember why, for real.
Exactly.
Do you remember?
Yes,
Why?
I remember why. Because you took my phone and you went into the bathroom and you were texting the dude that was saying that
Who house you was in? You came to my house unwanted that day.
What?
You came to my
No.
Yes,
we
did.
literally you picked me up because we left
No, stop.
Because we were gonna go to the movies.
Relax.
Because we were gonna go watch the new whatever
all,
it's called. Or the new Hunger Games.
First of all, I didn't pick you up because you drove over there. I remember that because followed you out the house that day. And then that's when I came after you. Was like, you know what I'm saying? I came out and you was like, "Are we done?" I was like, "Yeah, we're done." Then next thing I know, 4 hours later, the police come knocking on my like, "Hey, we have an arrest for Tyreek Hill. You beat it." I'm like, "Man, what the f?"
No,
me,
we had just got done having sex, and you took my phone and you went into the bathroom. We're going this way.
I did take your phone and I go in the bathroom, and then that's when I picked you up and told you can leave, right? And then I put you outside.
No, you questioned me about it. You're like,
but
why is this person?
Did I ever punch you in your face and your lip? No, I did not. Bro.
You had your hands around my neck.
No, I did not, bro. No, and that's the sad part that Nah, I want you to sit on this flight and think about that night. How about that? Since you want to break something up.
Okay, I will. I will sit on this flight and I will think about that. But I honestly want you to think about what that night between me and you getting into an argument about the way you disciplined. Right. And even that CPS lady says that it's you don't do it correctly.
Okay, I will listen. But like I said though.
No, but you're not listening to me. Think about why a freaking 3-year-old would tell everybody and anybody that you broke his arm. Why would do that? Then why?
I'm the one that plays with him. Maybe that's why you don't do with him. I'm the one that get physical with it.
No, I play with a hell of a lot more than you do. You just sit on your game all the damn time.
Right. That's all the need to do.
So don't sit here and tell me I don't play with.
You right. You right, bro. Like I said, I'm sorry for whatever happened. Because obviously this wasn't a match made in heaven right here. You know what I'm saying? We don't need no beef.
No, we don't. But you really, really, really need to think about why says somebody broke his arm, and every single time he says it's you.
Oh no.
And then if I look at him, he'll change his story.
Cause he telling the truth then, bro, and that's sad, bro.
Like, so and then you sit here and tell me
program, bro.
No, and then you sit here and tell me that I'm not riding for you.
You're not, bro. You're not, bro. You ain't riding for me in 2014. You damn sure ain't riding for me now, bro. And like I really fully believe in my heart that you got something to do with your money behind this.
Okay, you can believe that all you want,
okay,
but
damn, bro.
These are the only bags we're carrying with you. Okay, I'll be asking you for security questions related to your baggages. Who owns all the bags and the contents?
We both own them.
I own this one. She owns this one.
Who packed it? Who did the packing of the bags?
We both did.
We both did the packing.
Okay. After the packing was done, until now, where have the bags been?
Taxi.
But always with you?
Yes.
Did any other person give you anything to carry to US?
No.
Anything you guys are carrying which is electronic or battery operated?
In this bag, camera.
Anything else? Laptop,
Camera,
iPad?
drone, and laptop.
Okay. Have any of those been out of your possession?
No.
Anything you guys are carrying which is in a powder format?
Powder form?
Yeah.
No.
Enjoy your flight. Can you go this way, please?
You gotta get on your ass to get the whole truth out.
You're not getting on my ass, Tyreek.
Yeah, you told me the truth finally, bro. See, I like when you finally tell me the truth, bro.
No, because
Yeah,
if I would have said that the
yeah.
first time, if I would have said that the very first time to you when this whole allegation got brought
No,
up,
you supposed to still tell me the truth.
you
bro.
would have gone crazy.
You still supposed to tell the truth though, right? That's what somebody's wife's supposed to do.
And I'm telling you the truth. And I'm telling you the truth from the beginning. I didn't do anything with you.
3 times. 3 times, right?
No,
It took
with
you.
calling them, and now somehow this investigation got brought back up, and you're about to lose your. So now I really want you to sit and think about it because I rode for you against that detective and the CPS people, and they said time and time again that literally kept saying, "Daddy punches me," which you do when he starts crying. What do? You make him open up his arms and you punch him in the chest. And then if he gets in trouble, you get the belt out and you do.
Okay, so what about you? What you don't do? So I'm just gonna take it.
No,
that
I
you
told.
don't be either. You don't
I
be.
told him that he gets whooped. I told him that he gets whooped, but I don't use a belt, which is totally
You
different.
do use a belt, and that's sad. Even my mama said you use a belt.
When have I used a belt? When have you seen me use a belt with? When have I used a belt?
You got it. See, there you go, getting loud. You want everybody to see us in the world.
No, I don't. But I'm asking you.
Thumbs up, Crystal. Thumbs up to you, bro. Sometimes I just wish I would get away. I wish I would have never had sex with you. I wish I didn't know that. None of that. I wish we didn't have kids. Like, my life is supposed to be a whole lot easier right now, bro. 2014 wasn't supposed to happen. None of that. But I put my hand on Ryan. But I broke my son's arm. Come on, let's be real, bro. Let's be real.
Yeah, let's be real.
You know how I am with kids, and you know how I am with. I'm very hard, but I would never ever hurt my son in life. Cause look,
He is terrified of you, and you say that he respects you, but it's not. It's
He
not
respects
respect. It's terrified. He is terrified of you.
You need to be terrified of me too. No, bitch. That's why you can't keep the man. He's terrified of you. He's terrified of you. You have kids. Girl, I go have my own.
You said that before. That's fine.
That's sad, bro. That really gotta go to those parameters just to like get through to you. Because you always think somebody's terrified of me. No, he's not.
If you ask, he will say he's scared of you.
If he's terrified of me, when we was in that Pearson gym with all those kids, then what, huh? What
He's
about that?
3.
Oh my God! See, there's the excuse is everywhere we go, my son loves on me. Everywhere we go.
And then when we get home, what is it?
And when we get home, it's for real. It's serious time. It's time to lock in because he know I don't play. I want my son to learn respect, something that you did not teach our son, and something that he will get his ass ran over in his work. Because first of all, our son is black. These white folks don't give a about our kids. They don't, and you know that, bro. And that's sad, bro.
Just things could have been handled a lot differently with him than the way that they have been now.
Right.
And these twins.
Right. You got it, bro. I just let you have it. I just let you.
Wow. Well, that is something else. That's all of it. That's the entire 11 minutes. And I wrote down what I thought because I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to have my voice interrupt what you were hearing. Okay. But look, the organization that released this, the media organization that released this, Kansas City Radio, ought to be ashamed of themselves. I'm going to read your comments right now. Mason Riggs says, news outlet has responsibility to find full version before rush release. And Eric Young says he's done with her, and I can't say that I blame him. And sometimes these babies will say anything. They don't know what they're saying. And Rodney Green, yeah, you don't know who got them to say what. And Rodney Green says, here in Kansas City, there's a rumor that he will get no suspension, and that's before the tape today. And I don't think he should get suspended. Apparently, the NFL has had the full recording. Robert Flory says, I agree. He says, it's a black guy in the NFL. They almost have to give him 2 games. I don't agree with that. And I'll explain why in a moment. And I wrote some comments that I'll share with you. Mason Riggs says, news outlet messed up. I think it was deliberate, okay? Robert Floyd says, the first Kansas City news source painted the original picture should be ashamed of themselves. It's pure racism. So now you get it, Henderson? Okay. What I wrote was, I said, his partner, this is the full audio rather. And I wrote, wow, I said that you should never not question any information in a situation like this. I'll explain in further detail in a moment why. There's all kinds of reasons why this happens. Rush media is one, politics is another, and I'll explain that one. And then there are a number of media people who make money off blacks in trouble. And look, how many times have you seen a video of someone African-American, getting into a stupid fight, kid, at a McDonald's, or the latest one is the Disneyland fight, right? And a lot of these videos come from people who sometimes are involved in these fights, and there's a media organization that contacts them and pays them several $1,000s to get this kind of video. And so you have this cottage industry that develops, and media is littered with this stuff, okay? And so that's one way, okay, that this happens, all right? And then you have people out there, like let's take Jameis Winston, all right? Jameis Winston did not rape Erica Kinsman. I repeat, Jameis Winston did not rape Erica Kinsman, okay? What happened was they were both drunk. She forgot what happened. Jameis stupidly did not call her the next day and say, hey, you know what? How you doing? I dropped you off, yada, yada, yada. So she had her mind filled with somebody else's fears about what they thought he did, and he didn't do that. And so what happened was that it accelerated to a point where this justifiable, frankly speaking, lobby of people got involved, including John Thune, the attorney, who quite literally is an ambulance chaser for perceived sexual harassment or Me Too cases. And this was the big one, all right? But it hasn't stopped. I mean, the Daily Caller, just about, I think 2 weeks ago, had this obvious doctored piece that was a negative. It was a hit job on Jameis Winston because this is the last season before his contract is due, all right? There has been a constant song and dance, or even let's take the whole issue with the Uber driver. No one bothered to ask if she was breathalyzed for driving at 2 o'clock in the morning, what her condition was. They just said, you know what, Jameis, get rid of it. She probably got a settlement and just move forward. And that's exactly what he did. But the damage to his reputation was done because someone said, they talked him out of it. And so what happens is that the lobby that exists to accelerate this perception goes on. And then it goes even deeper because there are people who will take that and they'll pour it into politics and contribute to this us versus them mentality that got us the guy that's in the White House right now. All right? All this ties together. And I'm not saying it's a perfect machine, but I'm saying that what's going on is that for every type of media today that's explosive, there is an industry involved in it, a micro industry involved in it. And that's what you're seeing here. And you have people who want what they perceive as certain elements out of the NFL. Why? Ad revenues, ad dollars. That's why. That's why. Because they want that cleaned up, because they think, they're concerned that the NFL is going to become too black. Okay? So even if the story is not right, they'll advance a false story. You hear what I'm saying? Even if the story is not right, they will advance a false story. This is a classic example of that. You had a media organization that had a recording. Now, somewhere along the way, someone either in the radio station or connected with it convinced somebody else to put that thing up there without checking. All right. So my point is that, all right. So my point is that there's definitely, hey Dan B, you're out of here. Don't come back. So bye. So there's definitely an industry for this, and once again, it's active. And it's active, and it's spread by social media, and it's propagated by social media. Okay, so hey ML, you're as a moderator, I want you to watch out for any idiots that come up like in this. Okay, so any particular people who are involved who are idiots are gone. So we have a fantastic blocking system here, and I'm glad to see that the idiots that are trying to come in here are getting frustrated. So moving along, now that they're out of here, Jeff Williams says it was the CBS affiliate station KCTV, okay, and KCTV. Let's check them out. KCTV. Got it. And let's see. Oh, you want to know if I type KCTV? Oh, there's a legal analysis of the complete Tyreek Hill audio tape that was posted 6 hours ago on Arrowhead Addict blog. And what it reads is, I really feel sorry for Tyreek Hill because this guy has been framed all the way along, just completely framed. Awful. Kansas City Chiefs Tyreek Hill has faced a long legal battle over allegations of child abuse that surfaced March of 2019. KCTV5 released an audio tape of the abuse. Released audio tape of Crystal Espinal is her name. Crystal Espinal, his name, okay? And Crystal Espinal and Tyreek Hill discussing the circumstances, as you heard, all right? So you heard the entire, I'm gonna scroll down and see what this attorney says. And basically, this is what they're saying. They're saying that the question is, from a legal perspective, is why someone would enter a plea deal and plead guilty to a crime they did not commit. That's the issue. I touched on this one on the radio, but let me expand further, okay? And so in a criminal case, when charges are brought, you're entitled to a trial by jury. You're able to waive that and be tried by a judge, one person, but typically criminal cases are judged by juries. Juries are a complete gamble. Despite the fact that jurors agree and pledge to be impartial and to judge based solely on the evidence, all right, they bring in their own inherent biases through life experiences. It colors how a person sees the world. They may not be how we want to see the world, but it's the truth, so you never know what's going to happen with a jury. It's a toss-up and often involves your freedom. And so when looking at a plea deal proposed by a prosecutor, you're often presented with lesser charges to plead guilty. If you're faced with the prospect of jail time versus probation, you might be tempted to plead guilty too. This is the legal analysis that I'm reading. Is that what happened in Hill's case? We don't know. It could be an explanation for why an innocent person, which Hill claims to be in the recording, pleads guilty to a crime he did not commit. Our legal system is not perfect, but this can be what happens. Does the audio change anything for Hill from a legal perspective and the criminal charges? The lawyer says no. The district attorney has already heard the audio in its entirety. There is nothing new released that could cause the district attorney to reopen charges against Hill because they've already heard what we heard, okay? But it is a matter of how the court of public opinion was attempted to be manipulated. That's the big issue, all right? That's the big issue, okay? That is the big issue, okay? And so should some other recording magically appears, is what they're writing, there may be at this point it's believed it's safe to say that the district attorney's case will remain inactive. from the family court perspective, they all also likely heard the audio. This probably impacted some of the family court's decisions on removal of their son and steps toward reunification. I would speculate the family court will not change any of its orders as a result of that audio. And that's in and said they said that how does it impact Hill in the NFL? I'll say this is how I think it impacts Hill in the NFL. I think it impacts Hill in the NFL in this way. First of all, it impacts Hill in this way. You've got purely a situation where this is very much like Reuben Foster and his girlfriend. Because I'm thinking, in this case, all right, hey, you know what? Why is it that he would be with the same woman? All right, that's not what's talked about. Why is it that this would be with the same woman? In Reuben Foster's case and in Tyreek Hill's case, the same woman. Okay, so why? And what is it about a woman like that? What is it about their relationship? And look, I think all of us have been in relationships that are passionate to a degree where you get into arguments because the other person, it's like the other person is doing whatever, and you think, I got to get away from this person, all right? Some people handle it to where they think they have to stay in the relationship, even though it's volatile. I mean, I personally have had experience in that. I run. I got out of there. I was like, hey, you know what? Out. No way, no way, no way, Jose, because just the way I believe, you want a woman in your life that has the same desire to achieve the same level of success that you do. And when stuff like this goes on, what it means is they have something else in mind. I've had friends, very prominent friends. I have very prominent friends who have had wives who were jealous of them as they were going up the ladder. I mean, one of my friends was in the middle of a conversation at an event decade ago, and his wife actually got upset in the middle of the conversation because the attention wasn't on her. All right, and they eventually divorced. She turned to alcoholism. So there is, and this is something that people don't talk a lot about, is in a society where more and more and more than in the past, it is as it should be that a woman can achieve a great deal of success very rapidly. All right, many times on her own. What happened? All right, what happened? What happens when you are the husband in the relationship? Your rise is meteoric, and then your wife becomes jealous of your success, right? So there's a lot of that going on. I see that happening a lot, and it plays out in different ways. Okay, so anyway, there. Robert Flay says, I respect your opinion, but I politely disagree. I don't think it has to do with race. I love Tyreek Hill, but he didn't deny the chest punches, and he still makes bad choices. But Robert, you're hearing, and they don't have to suspend him for 2 games. They really don't. So if you're looking at them having to suspend him, I think you're going to be in for basically a surprise. They don't have to. This is not. So anyway, Rodney Green says, am I releasing the full audio? No, we released the newsworthy. I don't know. No, this is the full audio. I just play. I don't, Rodney, I don't know who you are. You were late. Okay. And so, no. Oh, you're quoting, I apologize. Oh, you're quoting the lady. Okay. You're saying, I apologize, Rodney, my fault. Rodney. Okay. I get you. Rodney says, she said they released the newsworthy portions. That's sloppy. That's sloppy. And then she says they discussed intimate moments that had no news value. Boneheaded. Okay? Boneheaded. And so I don't know, not at all. Here's the thing. If I say it has something to do with being black, now you have to remember, I don't know who you are. And some people who are white will get on here and say, well, I'm black, but I can't see who you are. I'm black. I'm talking about what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what happens in politics. And you can't just say it has nothing to do with anybody being black, because they are black. And you can't take somebody else's perception away of how society hits them. It's only normal. It's like, look, you can't do that in a Me Too society where everyone wants their story heard. You can't say to a woman, hey, look, your story doesn't matter, or I don't hear you. You can't say that to somebody, black, white, anybody. Everybody has a story. The question is, and the question should always be, whether or not they're telling the truth. Okay? That's the question. All right? That's the question. All right? And so Joseph Armendariz says, skip my post. I was talking about the racism in America. I missed your post. I'm sorry. Let me go back here. There was so much Jeff Williams says they spearheaded coverage initially as the national media caught it up to it. And Robert Floyd says most of the media is actually against Trump. I don't know where you get that idea from. It's about 50-50 from where I sit. And Eric Young says, this is Eric Young. I don't know if Eric is still around, but Eric Young gets the award of the comment of the night. Eric writes, I hope Kansas City is just that dumb enough to get rid of Mr. Hill because he looked better in silver and black anyway. Ding. I love it. Rodney Green says they rushed the story to try to paint him to be a bad person. She said she didn't release the whole tape because it wasn't newsworthy. Crazy reason. Gotcha, Rodney. I missed that. I apologize. You're absolutely right. I did miss that. Eric Young writes, he's done with her, and I can't say that I blame him. And sometimes these babies will say anything. They don't know what they're saying. I said that before. Now let me go back to the rest of your comments. And thank you for your moderation. Donald Richardson, how you doing, Donald? Donald, man, I owe you an email. I apologize. You know what? If I forget something, look, you have carte blanche to call me, all right? Because my mind is just all over the place. If there's something I was supposed to do and I want to get into it here for you, call me and remind me so I can take care of it, please. All right. All right. Now, Mason Riggs says should be fired. Agreed. 1,000,000% agreed. Thanks. Mason Riggs says learn about this in undergraduate journalism. John Richards says based on what I heard on the tape, I believe Hill might have gotten a raw deal. I think he got a very raw deal. Both in Oklahoma, and someone else said, why would he plead guilty? All right, why would he do that? And there's something I'm going to spin a theory based on interviews with younger black men of late, and then also story accounts. And I point to Kinsey, who was on my show, Kinsey is the gentleman, Kinsey Smith is the gentleman who was on my show, and he's talked with me for 47 minutes in a live stream show. If you don't know the name, you might know the name Barbecue Becky.
The grace of God.
All right. And Barbecue Becky, this is the gentleman that I'm going to introduce you to, and it's relevant here, is Kinsey Smith, was the victim of Barbecue Becky. Barbecue Becky is the woman that basically rolled up on him, called 911 because they were barbecuing while black, all right? Okay? But I want you to listen to what Kinsey said to me right here on Zenny 62, okay? This is what he said to me. And then because it's still, to this day, shocked the heck out of me. Hold on a second.
It was her. She is murdered, and her sister Latifah was actually stabbed by a white male. Some say he's not a white supremacist, but when we looked on his Facebook page before they deleted it, there were actually pictures of swastikas on there. There were actually.
Did you screenshot it?
I did not screenshot it. My brother screenshotted.
Oh.
Hello. Actually have them in the same vicinity. Like I mentor kids kids in North Oakland. I mentor kids in West Oakland. And I mentor kids in East Oakland. And so we were talking about politics, and I was talking about.
I mean, I know we don't interrupt, but I have to say one thing. That aside, if someone had said to me, "Hey, this is my lake, and I bought it for five," or this is what I want you to hear, because I want you to hear what happened to him. This is listen. Right.
The first hour.
Right.
But then it was the second.
Right here. Listen. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen.
So we're looking at
She
it
said
like-
what?
She said
Listen. This is how it started with Barbecue Becky. Listen. Going to call 911 because you're Listen. This is it right here. Listen to this.
actually trying to engage in getting youngsters to actually vote.
Right.
That's all this whole situation is about. It's not a publicity stunt. It's actually.
He's going to talk about it in a second. Bear with me.
For young adults to actually rock the vote.
Wow. So, for those people who may not know, because there's a tendency to go inside baseball on things, folks, this is the man who was the victim of Jessica Schulte's illegal use of a cell phone to call 911 because you're barbecuing.
Barbecue Becky.
I mean, wait, take us back to that did she just happen up on you guys?
So basically we got out the car.
Yeah.
And we started putting our stuff, replacing our stuff, as far as like our charcoal. We started building our charcoal grill. We got the charcoal bag out the car. We got some like I'll say plates. Took out the folding table. Lady walks up to us. Hey, how you guys doing today? We're like, fine. How are you? And she looks at us and she goes, "Oh, I'm having a bad day." And now you guys are too. And we're like,
What? That's how she said it?
yeah, and then we're like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, I bought like mirrors.
She sounds like Gru in Despicable Me. I'm having a bad day.
So I bought the lake for 5.7 million. So we're looking at.
She said what? Wait, repeat that. Say what?
She told us he bought the lake for 5.7 million, and she said that we're trespassing on private property. She said that we did not have the right to barbecue on her property, and she said we were going to need citizens arrest.
What?
And then she proceeded to.
It's totally nuts.
Then she proceeded to call the police.
Excuse me. Freaking nuts, man. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Wow.
She proceeded to call the police, and we were like, for the first hour, literally, we thought we were on some like hidden camera show, like literally, so hidden cameras. Like,
Right.
For the first hour.
Right.
But then it went to the second hour, and the second hour when she got like more aggressive.
The first hour? Excuse me, this went up for like the first hour?
Yeah. So with a lot of you guys only seen like 25 minutes.
Right.
This went on for 3 hours and 25 minutes.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So
man.
Like I said, like the second hour was like more aggressive. The language had changed.
She was harassing you guys from jump.
Like literally, like if you look in the video, there's two, like right on the side of us, there were two gay men, and they were actually barbecuing, and their barbecue pit was like this big, and she never wanted to say anything to them. Like literally, like no words. Like they sat here and were like watching us, like.
Well, dude. I mean, I know we don't interrupt, but I have to say one thing. That aside, if someone had said to me, "Hey, this is my lake, and I bought it for 5.7," I worked for the last 2 years in Oakland. I would have said, "You know what? Get the fuck out of here." Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't on.
I said 2 of the last 5 years of Oakland. Sorry, not the last 2.
I'm not like going. I'm not going to disrespect individuals.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I realized that she was trying to get a rise out of this. Like I noticed that she was actually recording us and our reactions. And so what I did was, I looked at Deacon and I said, "Yo, brother," I said, "I got this." And he was like, "What do you really got this?" I said, "Watch this." So I took her picture and I sent it to Michelle and I said, "Yo, if I go to jail," I said, "this is the reason why." And Michelle was just like, she texted me right back and she was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, basically, I'm about to go to jail for charcoal." then Michelle was like, what? And then she's like, where you at? And I'm like, off Lakeshore. And I knew Michelle was in the area because before,
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right because you got the. I wanted you to hear that, but because it's a long interview. But my point is that Kinsey let that happen to him. All right. In other words, there's two ways you can go with incidents like this. You can either call the police, as he should have done, or had the police call on you, as she did. All right. And what I was saying is that if I had been in that situation and she, as they say, rolled up on me with, excuse me, I own the lake and I bought it for 5.7 million. First of all, no one is stupid enough to say that they bought the lake for just 5.7 million when the lake is arguably worth several $billion. All right. That's the first mistake. Okay. That's the first mistake. The second mistake is that Kinsey let this go on. Thank you for the investment, Donald. Kinsey let this go on, not just for 10 minutes or 20 or 30. He let it go on. You heard him say it. 3 hours. 3 fucking hours. He let him, okay? So my point is there's something in the mentality of some of us younger brothers who we let people do things to us. I'm saying this to you, okay, as a black person to black person. Somebody does something to you, you get on the phone, you call the police, all right? In my interview with Kinsey, Kinsey's like, no, I don't do that. I don't call the police. Heck, I do, all right? Hey, look, if we have our taxpayers' monies, and I'm going to get back to football in a second, but this is all intertwined. Protect and serve. Have the police defend you, okay? Because then if they don't, you have the case. In Oakland, I can tell you, they would have been happy to haul her off to the funny farm. Happy. But he let her abuse him. Okay? That's what happened. Because maybe his mentality is, I don't handle it this way or physically. I'm thinking, you know what? You have a right to be there. Call the cops. You're being harassed. Get her out of there. I mean, anybody who would say that. And so this goes back to someone saying, why would Tyreek Hill plead guilty? Because there's a mentality among some of us, and it does have to do with being black, who are younger, who feel like the system's already against you, the police aren't going to help you, and you might as well just accept, you might as well just put yourself in that soup of depression and despair and just dig deeper, all right? And, okay? Right, Biden says Fresno police, right? My point is that it's a dangerous way of thinking. It is self-defeating. It hurt Tyreek Hill. It hurt Kinsey. It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic of negative thinking. No, I would have been delighted to haul her off. I remember when I was at Cal, big game. And I've told this story before, but to us, to people. And Don Richard says, not only do I call the police, I follow up and getting incident reports. Yeah, this guy claimed that I took his seat. Now, anybody who's ever been to a Cal Stanford big game knows that everybody sits or stands with their friends that go back, in some cases, 40, 50, 60 years, all right? It's relaxed atmosphere. It's fun. It's all that. It's just a wonderful place to be. Now, this idiot obviously didn't get that memo. In retrospect, probably didn't even go to Cal or Stanford. He wasn't wearing red. He would have been thrown out of our section. Anyway, he goes, this is my seat. He's like, "Rrr." And I said, no, it's not. And he said, I'm going to call the police, security. And I said, wait a minute. Hey, police, haul this guy out of here. He has no business being here. This guy. He's around my friend saying this. My friend's like, what's wrong with you, dude? So he left. Okay? Because he realized that I was going to have his ass hauled off to jail like that. I don't care. Okay? I don't care. I assume, when I call the cops, I assume I'm right. I don't think anything's going to turn, the other way or anything like that. No. Absolutely not. And more of us should do that. And so, but what happens is, particularly when someone comes from a lower income environment, was the case with Tyreek Hill, and then gets rich in the NFL, that he hasn't got the neighborhood out of him per se. Just being honest, all right. And so he assumes something bad is going to happen. He assumes that he doesn't understand what it means to defend himself. Don says facts. Yeah, I'm just laying it out to you. All right. I mean, when you are, and some of you say, and I'm just to be honest with you, what you say is stupid. Okay, when you say it's got nothing to do with being black, don't ever write that crap again, because you don't understand what it's like to grow up in an environment where your relatives say something negative, or your relatives say, hey, being black is this, or being black is this, or, that's constant refrain. And in order to achieve any success, you have to quite literally fight through the noise that comes out of your own family. All right? So don't ever let a stupid comment like that come out of your mouth again, or comment. And you know what? Depending on my mood, if I see the comment, I might just block you. You need to learn to hear the stories of other people and understand your country better. Okay? Because when you write black has nothing to do with it, it shows me you have no idea what you're talking about, let alone how America ticks. We all we know at the end of the day is how we came up as people. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Jewish, all that. You cannot take the stories of people away from them when you say, hey, being black has nothing to do with it. No. That's not for you to say. If it doesn't, let the person who is telling the story say that. Your job is to shut up and listen. That's your job. Just shut up and listen. You may not want to hear it, but you know what? At the end of the day, you'll learn something, I guarantee you. Reginald McCliss says, do you think Hill is dangerous to his child? Why would I think that? No. Eric Young says, black has everything to do with it. Yeah, absolutely. Carlos Mendoza says, no one know what happened. Carlos, we played a recording. You're late. We have some idea what happened. You're wrong. Real Jim McAllister says, Donald, you're wrong. Reginald, you're wrong. Reginald, so what? Welcome to Zenny 62, by the way. You're gonna get tossed around a bit, pal. You're in the thick of the zone. So just watch your language, because you're gonna get beat one way or the other, intellectually or the other way. Intellectually, when I say I mean intellectually beaten left or right politically. Okay, it doesn't matter. I can come after you both ways. Gabriel Rose from Argentina. So you say. I don't know that you're from Argentina, but he says he's from Argentina. Whatever. Okay. Or he or she. I don't know who you are. All right. Now, Kelly Parkin says, just because he denies it on extended video doesn't make it not make it okay. Kelly, you're missing something. That recording wasn't something that was in the court of law or police. This was as they are they're not saying, oh, let's record each other and talk. That was a surreptitious recording, okay? A surreptitiously obtained recording. You can hear it. I can actually visualize what they're doing. They're on the plane talking about this in a hushed voice. How awkward is that? I mean, they're having this heated, hushed argument on a plane, man. On a plane. And you could hear them that long period in the conversation where they were rustling bags. You know what they were doing? They were putting their stuff in the overhead bins. All right? That's what they were doing. Okay? All right? So, all right? So, you got a situation where you have a recording on there. You may not like what it's saying, but it is what it is. All right? And oh, by the way, for those of you we were talking about how some people want to cast a story a certain way. I mean, you're seeing it right here. I mean, you have some people who just came on, nothing better to do, but they want to they come up with a racist agenda. All right? You have some screwed up people around. That's the one thing that I figured out in doing this is you have some people screwed up with watching this. They're just mad about something. Trying to figure out a way to break in and say something inappropriate, and they can't. Because ultimately, if they figure it out, I'm going to boot them anyway. Just fact. That's a slight percentage, not the majority. But the fact of the matter is, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You don't like what I'm going to say, but I'm telling you, racism is a mental illness. I repeat, racism is a mental illness. All right? It causes people to do things they don't want to do. It causes them to lie. It causes them to lose their own jobs. Okay? It is the ultimate mental illness because people don't want to think of it as a mental illness like depression, but it is. All right? So, okay? So, and let's see here. Here's Kelly. Let's use Kelly Perkins as an example. Is it Perkins or Parkins or whoever fake name this is? In the NBA and NFL, it's quite possible you have to look at black people in those leagues. Most of them are thugs. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. But see, the reason why I read that comment rather than blocking it is because it's exemplary of a highly unintelligent point of view. It just is. Because you have somebody who, it doesn't matter, and this is the kind of person that in society, if you're young and African American, watch out for this kind of person. Because this person, all right, no matter what you do to try to prove to them that you're like that okay black guy or whatever, they're going to think of you a certain way. Because they're screwed up racially. Because they're mentally ill. Everybody has to have a lens through which to view society. But the real problem is that they don't feel good enough. They don't feel good enough about themselves to feel good about you. That's just a fact. Now, the worst case is that the person that wrote that might be as young as 14 years old. That's the other part about this. You have a range of people. Remember we had with Steve Lacy. Steve was 60. And then we had the guy who was playing basketball who said that who said that LeBron James was a better player than Michael Jordan. Remember that? He was 16, 17, 18, headed off to college. All right. Don, which is sad if they're 14. Yeah, but the reality is, look, social media takes all the different ages, and among the 36 people that are on here now, I don't know how old they are. I don't know what the spread is. I know some of you, right? But the total spread can be that wide. It can be 16 to 60, all right? Rob Iman says, it's sad that racism still exists in the Central Valley. You know what's going on, though, is if we don't get this income issue out of the way. Donald's 43. I'm 55. I'll be 56 August 4th. If we don't get this income disparity out of the way, where we have 34%, 35% in the Bay Area, but 34% of the people in the United States underemployed, we're not making enough money to really make their ends meet. This is going to get worse. And that's why, I'm not a fan of the talk of reparations right now, because it comes at a time when people are cash-strapped regardless of color. And you have people who don't have the education to get the jobs that are out there. The jobs go wanting because they're usually generally tech jobs. And the other kind of jobs that they can do are being eaten up and gobbled up by automation or offshoring, or some combination of both. And there's no economic development policy that we're implementing to stop that. The reason why we didn't have the problem in the past is because we had a great economic development policy. We had these ideas. We don't do it anymore. The idea that government can fix the markets is a fantasy to a number of people. Or if government can fix the markets, it's got to be this broad thing where it's got to be Medicare for all and everything else and stuff that, we haven't figured out how to pay for and everything. Yet we have Obamacare, which really does work really well for me. Tip for everybody who has a skepticism about Obamacare, but the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, but is in, thank you for the investment, Last of a Dying Breed. Hey, here's the problem, Last of a Dying Breed. I need you to send me an email. I need to know who you are to set aside investment for you, okay? Because I'm behind on doing that. So please, send an email to me. Let me know who you are so I can send you your compensation in forms of shares, all right? Because I don't let those things go by, all right? yeah, obviously the more you invest, the more you get, and I really do hear that. Pantera says, do you think Tyreek Hill is still on the team? I think he will be. Rob Eidman says, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump causes the second Great Depression before he's out of the office. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. I don't know how he would, but I certainly hope that's not the case. I really do. But my point is, getting back to what I was saying, if you say, oh yeah, let's do reparations right now, what do you say to someone who's poor and white who comes from an area, any area in the country, even around here, Appalachia or any place else, who had, they're going to feel, and I think justifiably so, left out and not having anything to, they're going to be a little angry because here they are suffering, and then somebody else gets that money for something that happened a long, long time ago that they feel they had nothing to do with. And I'm sorry, and I understand, and I know it's not a popular position right now, at least among some of us, but I'm about creating a society that wins for all of us. And what's going on is that even within the Democratic Party, race, as you saw with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, is starting to divide us. Barack Obama didn't do that. And that's why President Obama, I'm glad he didn't get involved in it. Because that's got to be broomed out or we're not going to win, okay? We're starting to look like the Republican Party. We're starting to let the Republican ills splinter the Democratic Party, all right? Now let's talk football, all right? And so anyway, I was going to give you a tip about Obamacare. I apologize. If you run your own business, you can write off what you pay in terms of mortgage or rental. But you didn't know that, did you? I repeat, with the Affordable Care Act, if you run your own business, you can write off your house payments on a per square foot basis. Did you know that? Did you know that? I bet you a lot of you didn't know that. But I'm telling you, you can do that. Do it. I know a lot of you are in business for yourself. I am. Okay? And, hey, there. Eric Young says, correct me if I'm wrong, but the other race. Well, here's the thing. First of all, there's no such thing as other races. There's only human race. There's different colors. But there's no significant difference between us such that, it's got to be a race here. And, we have this planet called out over there. We got that planet over there. Let's cool that, okay? That's a social construct of which has no primary basis. No, I think I support Kamala Harris for president as well. But not quite over Joe Biden. Although I know Kamala personally. I love her. I think she'd be an incredible president. However, I do believe her approach is not the Obama approach. And that's what I'm looking for. All right. Hey, Donald, I'll see you, man. I won't forget you. Call me, man. Not tonight, but just call me tomorrow. All right. Call me tomorrow. Okay. So anyway, yeah, so that's what it is. Let's turn to a conversation about, before 2 o'clock approaches, let's turn to a conversation about Las Vegas Stadium and Raiders update, see where we're at. And here's the thing. I know there's a guy that has been contacting me, and, we'll see how that goes. But, by the way, the Raiders signed Josh Jacobs. He was the last holdout. And number 28, who had the pleasure of interviewing at the 2019 NFL Draft, has been signed. And apparently the negotiations were rough. I can't wait to see if that comes out on Hard Knocks. All right. And let's see here. I want to get your comment here. What did you say here? What did you say? Oh, you said, Black Lion says, we paid Israel millions of reparations for something we had nothing to do with. Now, I understand what you're saying, but what are the other correct results? I'll get to that in a second. I understand what you're saying, Black Lion. I chose my words carefully. I said at this time. I believe that the biggest problem we need to straighten out is the dramatic and growing income inequality in this country. And I think the way we need to do it is we need to have a guaranteed minimum standard of income for every working American. and we can finance that through a national sales tax. Some would call it value-added tax. I think it, by some estimates, would raise as much as $500 billion to $800 billion a year, and we can really afford to help people on a sliding scale basis. With that, and we need to think in those terms, because we don't have a true economic shock absorber that cushions us against the twin ravages of offshoring and automation. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. If we do that, we will avoid where we are right now. We're starting to argue more intensely over resources. Think about it. That's what we're doing. We're arguing over resources. No, I deserve this because you did this to me. And someone says, yeah, but I wasn't around. I deserve X because I need to feed my family now. All right? A conversation like that, because of the nature of it, can only get worse, not better. It doesn't help us as a country. We need to keep our eye on the ball and fix the economy as a whole. All right? That's what I'm saying. So, Justin Merritt says, what type of business? What about landlord of property? Yeah. There's no restriction as far as I recall. Help me. Ryan Abbott says, John K on YouTube put a video up today of the Rams Stadium. It's a cable roof that will have a clear roof and somehow hold the Oculus scoreboard. Yeah, I don't. That's going to be interesting. But if you take a look at their situation, that roof basically it's a giant truss span of what they built. They didn't build it in segments like the Raiders situation. I don't like the Raiders stadium at all from a structural standpoint. That thing in that structure on that ground next to that fault in that environment, I feel is not the best. Maybe, I don't know that they're designing it so that, say, it uses the ground, which is, in such a way that it absorbs the vibration. But what I understand from what I've read and what I'm told, I'm not an expert in that area, but I know enough to ask a question, is that kind of ground there actually causes earthquake vibrations to reverberate. So the vibration is made worse. But I'm not comfortable with this cantilever. All right, and that's what they've got. They got that overhanging cantilever deal, okay, and these segments, and they're all pulled together. And it's all flimsy. Well, what I prefer, I'll show you. I want a truss span. What I want, like a truss span, Seahawks Stadium. There's two giant truss spans. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Two giant truss spans. And they have, the roof spans 720 feet, and it's between concrete pylons, and they support these trusses, okay? And so basically it looks like this. And this is what the Raiders would have had if they had stayed in Oakland, okay? And but this is what it won't open up for me here. Let me try that one. Let me try this one. Let me try something. Yeah, that one. CenturyLink Field. Let me pop out that. Yeah, here it is. This is what I want. Okay. This, to me, keep in mind, this is earthquake country. All right? You see this? Now, these are truss spans. One long go. All right? And take a look at the structures. It's very similar to what LA has. Okay? And they're supported. LA's is a kind of a geometric design that's almost self-supporting in its design, in its way. But what they have here, they have concrete. If you take a look, they have these concrete pylons on either end. You see that? Look close, all right? See that? That's what that is. Okay, here, and then on the other end, okay, and then here, all right? They support this one long go. This is a truss span. That's what these are called. These are called truss spans, but this is one long go. It's not a segment It wasn't installed like in a segment, all right? So, and they've never had a problem with this like that, all right? So you got this construction. You see that even when it went in, see how they built these, all right? And then they, all right, put that up there and then they let that go down, all right? They built it over these and they dismantled those and so it hangs like that, okay? So you got, and most of the seats are there. The Raiders would have been far better off with that structure, with this structure. And this almost made it to the Oakland Coliseum. All right, so my point is, I am, by contrast, how and why they insisted on that, I don't know, but they did. That is, I'm not comfortable with that. And I would love to see the simulations of that design in an earthquake. I want to see what that looks like because I feel like this thing, as it's going up, is going up in a piecemeal fashion. Okay, they're solving. They have these problems and they're solving them as they go along. I mean, let's think about the history of this. All right, think about the history of this. We started. I'm talking about going all the way back to Carson. All right, we started with a structure that was supposed to be outdoors in Southern California, which means that you didn't have to worry about the roof support, let alone the vibrations that would occur there. You don't have to worry about the cantilever, none of that. But Davis insisted on using that, and apparently no one tried to talk him out of it. And so they used the Carson design as a basis for a domed stadium. So what they were trying to do was basically fit an approach into the design that Mark Davis wanted. A design that originally did not call for a roof. You hear me? You hear me? So I way don't like this thing. And the more it's built, the less I like it. Looks cool? Sure. Exciting for Las Vegas? Yeah. But that particular design? No. All right? I'm not sold. And so I'll read your comments. Eric Young says, what about the Caliche situation? Excellent point, Eric, because Caliche is the soil that causes the reverberation. But you know what, Eric, since, I believe I talked about that before. Caliche is this hard to destroy, hard to break up material that's in the ground, various parts around Las Vegas Strip. The Raiders did a great job of hiring the right people to destroy it. I believe Tad Contracting, who put in a change order for more money because apparently they claim that the conditions weren't what they said they were going to be, referring to the ground. It was their responsibility, Tab Construction, to install the utilities in the ground and also to basically excavate the ground and install the HVAC below ground. So they tried to keep the Las Vegas Stadium Authority very quiet. The dispute between Tab and the Stadium Authority, still not a peep. I've tried to find out what's happening. I'll leave it at that. But I haven't gotten a definitive answer yet. Okay, still working on it. Still working on it. And I am, because it's not, because of the way this is done, it's all piecemeal. It's like, oh my God, let's hurry up and, oh, he wants it this way, so you have to fix it like this. Oh, he wants to, everybody is trying to, please the boss and not say anything, and rather than, you know what, this is a bad idea. Let's just take another year, not do it this way, start all over again because we're making too many mistakes. It's too rushed. The weather's not cooperating with us. The time frame is too tight. All this stuff, okay? So my question is, hey, have you simulate tested this thing? That's what I want to know. Have you simulate tested this thing? You know, I don't know the answer to that. Okay, I haven't seen it yet. Ryan Abbott says all the cable roofs have been in an enclosed stadium and they pump air inside to keep the roof up. The Rams stadium is supposed to be open air though. Yeah, that's not. They're not going to have that. It's the taut cables will keep the roof in place. Rob Ivan says, I'm worried about what could happen to Levi Stadium in an earthquake. Actually, Levi Stadium stood up to an earthquake recently, so it's cool. I've been to Levi Stadium. The only thing I don't like about Levi is it feels like I'm sitting in an erector set. It feels like I'm sitting in a erector set. By contrast, what we used to call Quest Field is now called CenturyLink, where the Seahawks play. I love that place. You can feel the solidity of that stadium. Same goes for Reliance Stadium, which if you take a look at the design of it, is very similar to CenturyLink. Reliance Stadium, or what you call now Energy Stadium, is where the Texans play. Same for the Cowboys. Okay. Lee Tracy says the roof is for the 100-degree weather. Which roof, Lee? Are you talking about Vegas or LA? Which one are you talking about there? Just curious. All right. It is now 2:02, folks. We have been ongoing for 71 minutes and 40 seconds. Ding. Not bad. I'm going to sign off, however, and I want to remind everybody tomorrow, if you're on the West Coast, come back here at 3 o'clock. Blockchain. Seriously, the city of Berkeley is considering using a blockchain for municipal financing. We're going to talk to a Berkeley council member, Berkeley council member, Berkeley District 3 council member, Ben Bartlett is going to be on this show. Okay? Come on back. Bob Ivan says, Levi's needs a sunroof. Yeah. Oh my God. Black Lion says, all the problems that come with Vegas, now earthquakes. Shaking my head. Wow. Yeah. So we'll have 2 shows, primarily, in different videos. But come on back. Councilmember Bartlett at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific, and then, of course, our normal show at about 8:30 Pacific. Wyatt Abbott says, Levi's gets hot. Heard how they ordered the stadium with the sun. Yeah, that's a bad situation. Someone actually wound up dying in that. Broncos preseason game. First year Levi Stadium open. Sad situation. Sad. All right. See you all soon. And remember, hey, Comic-Con's in a week. Live long and prosper. See you later.